Today we're here with Richard Schell. We're going to have a conversation on gold. Richard knows more about gold probably than anybody in the industry. So Richard, tell us about a little bit of history of gold.
Well, as you know, gold has been the medium of exchange since the beginning of time. In the 1880s, all gold mining in the United States was done through placer mining. And the government prospered. Gold was our standard. And then at a time, the government decided that we weren't going to have gold anymore, and the government shut us down through an executive order. This was in the 1940s. And with our dredge, I can produce an ounce of gold for less than $85 an ounce. Through the development of our technology, we can do it on very high volume and on placers that are low in value and make it pay.
So let's speak a little bit about your dredge that's up there right now in Alaska that's working. It's a 15-inch dredge. What is so special about that dredge?
What is unique about any of my dredges, the 10, 12, or the 15, is the volume of material that will go through my dredge. Give you an example, a 10-inch dredge will do 200 yards an hour. 12-inch dredge will do 300 yards an hour. The 15-inch dredge will do 400 yards an hour.
That is a lot of material.
My dredge will not only concentrate but also classify any element or any mineral heavier than its surrounding gang. Gang meaning the dirt that it is around. So if those metals are heavier than the surrounding gang, my dredge will recover it. The uniqueness of all that is that I use no contaminants, there's no polluting. I use nothing but water, gravity, and vibration. And so the state of Alaska loves my dredge because I do not contaminate at all.
There's not any chemicals or anything with your dredge, so it's very green, really environmentally friendly. I actually had the opportunity to go out there several years ago and spend a few days on the dredge and on the property. It was amazing. And I remember that day, the EPA flew around and then they landed on your runway. The whole crew was a little bit nervous, having the EPA there. There was two guys that showed up. One of the guys spent the whole day on the dredge, and the other one was going around the whole property, seeing if there was any spillage or anything that was violating any of the EPA rules. Well, they came back at the end of the day and had everything written down, and they were blown away and amazed. They said, "You have the cleanest operation we've ever seen." And I remember them calling you the Golden Boys out there because it was such a clean operation, and they loved it. Especially your settling ponds. You weren't putting everything back into the river, and they absolutely loved the operation.
Everything about my dredge is very high tech, and it's very unique. Electronically, we have computers on board, we have cameras on board where you can view what you're dredging. Everything is right there in the captain quarters where he can watch everything on video.
So what would one of these dredge cost if somebody wanted to buy one of these?
That $5 million is the 15-inch dredge, and with additional add-ons if you want additional add-ons. And but with that $5 million, we will train your personnel.
So let's look at your 15-inch dredge. It does 400 yards an hour. What could somebody make off a dredge like that?
Well, our dredge will produce 400 yards every hour, as you said, and we operate basically on a 20-hour day. And if you compute it out on a 20-hour day, it's pretty interesting because you're going to work 30 days per month. So basically you're talking about 240,000 yards a month that you're producing.
That's a lot of yards.
Yeah, well, it's 8,000 yards every day. And if your values are in the neighborhood of $10 a yard, you can see that you're going to do $2,400,000 a month income.
Wow.
And most plasters will average much higher than that. That's at $50 a yard.
It'd be over 5 times, over $10 million.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now that would pay your dredge off in 1 month. And what business can you go into that would do that? To retire your debt the very first month, let alone the first year. This is a good industry.
Yeah.
What we have here is gold that has come off of our dredge, and
with the exception of this coin. I just wanted to show you the difference in color. Our gold in Alaska runs 98 fine. You can tell by the color, the purity of the gold. It's almost as this. This is 24 karat. This is almost 24 karat, this short. In other words, this is 98% pure. And if you can see the fineness of the gold that we recovered, here we have what is called flour gold. This came off our dredge off of the 6,000 slot. We can get down to 55 micron. And this flour gold runs in excess of 98% pure. In other words, almost 24 karat. 24 karat is 395. This is 98, 9 thereabouts. Extremely fine. You won't see anyone else in the world who can extract this. Now, 90% of all the gold in the world, according to geologists, state is in this form, flour gold. And I don't know anyone else in the world who can recover that. I do it off of my gold dredge.